Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Conversations in Pop Culture, and we are back in the saddle once again for another season. And before I introduce my guests, I do want to remind everybody that this episode is brought to you by my friend Preston Poulter, who does Palace of the Golden Princess, which offers a fun, sexy romp through a fantasy RPG setting run by women. Issue 3 launches soon on Kickstarter, and he's offering a free PDF of issue 1 for anybody who signs up for his email list at pocketjackcomics.com, so you can try it before you buy it. And that's pretty much all my sponsors for today. And I have with me Dustin Brunell and April Reyna. So welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hey, man, thanks for having us.
No. I thoroughly enjoy hanging out with you. I think this is the third time that we've done something like this. I think me and April, this is the second time. And I like what you guys do at Ethereal Press and Productions and everything that's going on with them and your 24 books that are coming out this year alone.
Yeah. that's not an exaggeration. I think we'll be at 24 at the end of the year.
And so obviously I thoroughly enjoy it. And I know that you had a bunch of stuff that just hit. I know that a bunch of stuff just ended. I also know something is coming up, I think in 2 weeks, A Very Ethereal Halloween. And so what's going on with everything? Because I think that's the best place to start, because you guys have a lot of shit going on.
That shit around us. If April wasn't around, I would lose my gourd. Like, it would just roll right the fuck off.
Everybody get good email.
Yeah, everybody gets good emails. So we just had There Be Shadows. The pre-orders for that just ended. Really excited about that. Donnie is a monster. It's a really, really cool book. It's like my own take on old school fairy tales. Your Peter Pan and your Little Mermaid and all that jazz. With that ethereal spice. That being said, it's definitely not for your children. I would not buy that for them. And we also just had Cretaceous pre-orders ended. Yeah. We just ended those, which was also super, super fun. Great book. Brian did the interiors for that book. And I'm going to say this as kindly as I can. If you're a fan of Hellboy at all, you need to pick up Cretaceous. I mean, the artwork is, I couldn't believe it. I had to do a double take when I looked at it. I was like, holy crap. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And then we've got April's book going live on Friday, her art book, Old Mermaid. And I'll let her tell you about it. It's very exciting.
I decided to do a 20-page artist prompt for Mermaid, and just finally got finished with it. So it's actually ready to go to print. It's just, who wants it? Yeah, we'll put it up on Kickstarter and see. And so this will be my second installation of Mermaid. It'll have about 24 to 28 pages of mermaid art on the inside. Just depends on what people want. Following that, I'll be doing Junicorn. I'm about a third of the way through those prompts, and I'm hoping to get this done before Kinktober goes live, because that is an annual experience.
Carnival right there.
If I didn't have so much fun with it, I wouldn't do it as frequently.
I love it.
It's great.
It is the only book that can make my face turn red.
That's saying something.
Yeah, it is definitely saying something.
For those that don't know what Kinktober is, it's my excuse to do anatomy studies, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, on an annual basis. And I have noticed that some people get very nervous about asking for adult art. And I am impressed with how excited and liberal people get with their requests, and so I find it to be a big community builder every time I do it, so it becomes very fun. But I only do it once a year. I know, right?
Oh man, it is literally, I can tell you, she has her own huge fan base for that particular event, just for the event. And it's amazing. I love all the different prompts she gets. Oh, most of them.
Oh my
gosh.
I
love most of them. Most of the prompts are pretty awesome. Some of them are terrifying.
Oh my gosh.
But It's really cool.
It's funny that you bring that up because I had Chris Madd on, and I
Oh
know
yeah,
that
love Chris. He's a member of Ethereal. Love Chris.
and we were speaking about how he gets some weird stuff and how people like sort of push the line with, I guess, some adult material, and it's very rare that he's sort of shocked and he says no, doing stuff, but like it is interesting how some people feel weird about asking and some people don't have a problem. And so what is that like? Because to kind of have an excuse to say, hey, this is the month to do it, I would imagine that people feel safer. I don't know how to explain that any other way off the top of my head. But like it's destigmatized is a good word to use.
Obviously, I keep everything as discreet as I possibly can, and of course, I'll do like censoring kind of things whenever I post things online. But it is, I don't know. It started out as just something for fun, and then I had an outpour. I'm not even kidding, an absolute outpour of people saying, "You have to turn this into a book. Will you turn this into a book? Where can I find a copy of all of these?" Because obviously I can afford only one or two of them at a time, but I love every single one of them, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing." I don't know. It was my first time ever trying to put something on a Kickstarter platform, and that was 3 years ago. This is pre-Ethereal. And so I I put it together and accidentally launched it. But I didn't have any pictures. I didn't know how to put pictures on, and it funded in like less than an hour. And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? So I had friends that were coaching me through the process of like loading, imagery and telling more about the story and helping it be more successful. But at the end of it, I was like, that was a rush. That was like driving for the first time. That was like, getting your first apartment kind of thing. It was a rush. And I had so much fun doing the art. I think so often a lot of the comic artists wind up feeling like they've been pigeonholed into drawing just Wonder Woman, just Harley Quinn, just Batman, just to get sales. And this was the first experience I had, like a real experience, not just, oh, I'm going to tinker with mermaids. Oh, I'm going to tinker with fairies and see where we go. No, this was like a full on delve right on in, absolutely zero copyrighted character knockoff anything. It was all art, and it felt good. And I was like, well, let's try it again. So I went back and did it a second time. And I, the first time I wound up with like 50 pieces of art because I don't know how to say no. And then the second time we had a 54-page book again. And then last year, because it really kicked off, I wound up doing, like, it took me 3 months to get them all done, but I wound up having a 72-page book. It was an insane amount of art. It was all beautiful. Like, it's hard to pick a favorite because I was like, wow. And then I've noticed that some of my clientele like to try to see me squirm. So they're like, well, I just wanted to see what you could do with it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm just not comfortable. And I set it aside and try again. And, there's just some things you just don't know what you're capable of until you try. And yeah, and it's just so interesting because I don't want to say no, but how do I skirt the issue? How do I do it in a non-advertent way? I mean, you could pull a, I don't know, pornographic image anywhere and just draw what you see, or you could take it one step further and try to like make it really different and unique, and then to go, wow, I didn't even think you were going to do something like that. I love it even more. And I'm like, that's the response I was looking for. So I don't know. I just have so much fun with it. And I think
the fans give you that though.
Yeah.
Really, like with Ethereal, when we had like I remember in the third issue of BGD, or it was the second issue of BGD, we said that I was joking with a couple people on a live show that caught me off guard, Andrew, and not many people catch me off guard. And I was very caught off guard. They were like, you show all these beautiful female characters naked. Where are the male characters? And I was like, I don't have a problem with that. I just wasn't prepared for it. You know what I mean? And so we did a Release the Lizard variant for BGD issue 3. And it had Ricky completely nude on the cover. And it sold like wheat cakes. Like, it was absolutely insane how many copies of that book we sold. But I have a lot of fans who like reach out and they want to see that character more. We want to see more of him. And I think when you're like with us at Ethereal, we're very big into public relations. We're also very big with, responding to our business, talking to customers, talking to friends, whatever you want to call them. And that gives people confidence. So when we're polite to you and we give you the ability to open yourself up to conversation with us, it gives you confidence and you don't feel like you have to squirm when you're asking for something. Like when we do the blank sketches, like all the artists do blank sketch covers if we ask them to. And it's like, we'll get somebody will be like, hey, can you draw like this character doing this or this character doing that or whatever. Every now and then you'll get the one that makes us go, oh, you know what I mean? But it's still like they were confident enough to reach out. It's never a hesitancy thing with us anymore.
So let's actually talk about this, because one of the things is that I run a business.
For sure.
And I run an eBay business. And so I like to keep my customers informed, and I do a lot of pre-sales. And what I find is the magic words is, I'm sorry, the item didn't come yet. As soon as it comes in, I'm going to get it out to you. I know it's late. And all of a sudden, don't get a complaint. And I usually get good feedback because I'm communicating.
Absolutely.
And so I ask my clients, hey, what do you guys want? Because if they tell me what they want, I'm going to go buy it and I'm going to go sell it to them, and they're happy. And I also understand once they want, I could take a spec and like, oh man, you have that? Yeah, absolutely. And so what is that like? Because I think that's an issue sometimes in comics. And I know plenty of people who are really bad at customer service is what I equated.
If you look at behind me, there are 115 long boxes in this room. And 30, well, not 30, I'm going to say 15 of them are back issues of Ethereal books. And it's because of the fact that we run a web store. And if you order from the web store, I don't want you to have to wait for the product. I don't want you to have to feel like our digital stuff is instantaneous. Like as soon as you purchase it, it goes out automatically. You don't have to wait. You don't have to do anything. The only thing that you should ever have to wait for from us is things, acts of God. You know what I mean? If an act of God happens, there's nothing I can do about it. But I'm going to walk with you through every step of fixing this act of God. You know what I mean? And same thing with like right now, we do pillowcases. We do these full body pillowcases, and they're beautiful. They're a lot of fun with real implants, right? So anyway, this last time I ordered early. I did order early, but they were stuck in like customs for like almost 5 months. So I got them, yes, early. Relatively early. But it still took 5 months to get these here, and everybody's got their books, but I'm like, here's the pillows 5 months later, but I'm constantly going, hey, I'm updating you on your books or your pillows, when they're coming in, how they're coming in, and I'm going to shoot you a little something extra. I know you didn't ask me to, but I'm going to shoot you a little something extra for your time, because I appreciate you as a purchaser, as a friend, a fan, whatever you want to call it. I appreciate your business. I appreciate your time more than anything else, because that's the one, the thing you can't get back. So we constantly want to go, hey, look, if you've got a problem, let us fix it. Like I've got fans right now that are new to Kickstarter, right? And they'll be like, we moved and we forgot to change our shipping address. And I've already paid the money to ship the product, right? The product's already gone out. The product comes back to me. Do you think I charge them for shipping again? No. I put it back in there with the correct address and ship it out. I don't have to do that, but that's just something that we would do. If you get a book that's damaged by UPS or FedEx or whoever, and now you don't get media mail from us, it's always really nice mail. You know what I mean? So when we send it out and you get it, and let's say they smashed it or they left it out in the rain or whatever they did, I will immediately get you another set of books. Immediately. Then I'll fight the post office. You know what I'm saying? I will make sure you have that product because, again, our word is everything. Everything, especially for a young company. You know, we're out there fighting the fight with the biggest dogs in the industry right now. And we want to make sure that we're there.
Let's actually talk about that because I don't know how you feel about it, but you have to earn my money now. I mean, not you as in you personally, but everybody in comics and everybody in media collectively. I mean, I hate to say this, but you're fighting against Peacock. You're fighting against I'm a big wrestling fan. You know, you're not just fighting against other comic creators. You're fighting against video games and everything else. And every video game, every company, you know, a book that's a novel is in that fight as well for my time and my entertainment. And everybody has to earn my money. And I think that's something that a lot of creators right now are forgetting in the whole Kickstarter game. I think the mainstream to some degree has forgotten it too, is that you have to earn my dollar. And there's been plenty of people who, after 2 issues, I didn't like them not communicating with me. I didn't like their attitude on their campaign. I didn't like the fact that their book was okay and that I found it really expensive. And I found it that, great, I wasn't around for issue 3 because you didn't earn my dollar. You didn't keep me happy. And so I think it's a really big issue right now where I think a lot of people, and, you know, people talk about this, but they're struggling on Kickstarter right now. A lot of people are. And a lot of people have been struggling for a while. And I don't want to name names.
A lot of things are half-assed, though, my brother. Like, a lot of things are half-assed. And I don't care who you are or where you come from. If you go half-ass, you know, we joke about being only whole ass at Ethereal. You know what I mean? We only do whole ass, man. And it's because of the simple fact that, look, I wouldn't want to sell you a book or a product or anything that we put out if I wouldn't buy it, first off. If I wouldn't spend my money on it, I don't expect you to spend your money on it, you know? So, like, you can ask any member of our team if there's a, like, at the end of the day, like we were joking last night, I only do the first, like, 15% and the last 25% that I deal with per product that comes out. And it's like, I will say my piece. If I'm not happy with it, I'll let everybody know I'm not happy with it. It doesn't matter where we're at in production. We as a team have to be collectively happy with what goes out because we all have different viewpoints, right? So, like, you as a buyer, you like this, 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 and this. Okay, cool. Well, if I'm not that type of person, I'm going to think of the other stuff over here, and I may not think of what you're into. That's why there is an entire management team for Ethereal. That's why there's an entire art team for Ethereal. We all have steps. There's always a catch-22 for us, for each individual. You know, like I said, when you go into a book and, like, a lot of people have made the mistake of going into Kickstarter having that mentality that they were told their art is great. They've been told all their life their art was great. That may not be true. You know what I mean? It may not be true. So a lot of those things are people that are complaining that they're not doing well because they still have that mentality. You know what I mean? That, you know, my mom, my uncle said my art's great. It could be, but maybe it's not, you know, and that affects people. That affects your purchases. That affects how people view your product, you know, or you try to be cheap. You're going to go cheap on this. You're going to go cheap on your printing, or you're going to go cheap on your lettering because you don't think those are important things.
Or cheap on your shipping.
Yeah, or cheap on your fucking shipping. What? It's just, but these are such important aspects. Because there are people that are like, so you got audio files for music and sound. Man, there are people like that for comic books all day long. And if you go in half-ass, people are going to tear you up, bro. They're gonna tear you the fuck up, you know. And then you're gonna be like those dudes on these live shows all the time that are wondering why their books aren't selling. There's a million reasons why your books aren't selling. There's a million reasons, you know. You get the guys that are overconfident. You get the guys that don't want to do enough. You get, you know, guys, gals, whatever. It doesn't matter who you are. You have to give it everything you have all the time. This job, I asked April, we're on the phone with people at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. It's never ending. There is no downtime. There is no, and I think one thing that I've learned over the past 3 years, it's also not for the faint of heart. It really is not for the faint of heart, because if you walk in and your heart is on your sleeve and you're getting beat up constantly, you're getting beat up because the product's not good enough, it may not be for you. If you can't handle that one critique that's not very nice, and I'm going to say I'm very grateful. We haven't had very many bad ones at all in the past few years. You know what I mean? The ones we got were just ignorant ones talking bad about the fact that one of our main characters was a rabbit. You know what I mean? That was just ignorant as fuck. That was about the only one we've really gotten, and that hurt my feelings. Like, because I'm like, well, damn, dude, why you gotta be a dick?
But I like the bunny.
Yeah. I really like it. Everybody likes the bunny. Fuck you, guy. So,
She's
this
my banner.
is interesting that you bring this up, because I have gotten criticisms from people, and I'm like, you know what? They were right. I should have zigged when I zagged. Fair enough.
absolutely.
But they didn't say, Andrew, I don't like your background, or Andrew, I don't like your face. It wasn't that. They made a fair point. But then I've had people say, how come you didn't ask this question? And I'm like, because that's an offensive question to the person. Like, it's like, I'm not going to go ask somebody a question. So, I mean, I've interviewed porn stars. I'm not going to go ask a rather sensitive question like about her upbringing.
Listen to this. When you get asked something like this, what is their background? What the fuck do you have that you're coming to me and are requiring this? What do you do, my friend? Like, I get the whole deal with like I've had the whole the porn conversation a million times over. You know what I mean? And it's like, but what do you do though? You know, in reality, if you want to attack people, not a porn question, just in general. So
I'm just curious, what's the general porn question that's being like provoked?
Oh, Jesus.
I'm like, I don't get these questions. Maybe it's because I'm a female.
The thing with a lot of this stuff, again, though, is you get, you know, when you're going into an industry like music, right? I always compare comics to music, because I've never needed to be the lead singer of my own band. I don't need that. I have no fucking need for that at all. But I'm always going to be the drummer. I always want to make sure the band gets there to the show and they play the gig, right? That's what I want to make sure.
That they can keep time.
Exactly. So, but there's a huge correlation between the two that people don't think about. How hard is it to become an actor? Like a successful actor? How hard is it to become a successful musician? You know? And then you get Kickstarter makes it so 1 million people can come on and show their product off. You doesn't mean you're going to sell your product.
You said a quote to me, and it has stuck with me. And I don't know if you remember the quote, but it was something like this, and you might correct me a little bit. You said there's a lot of people making comics, very few are professionals. There's a lot of podcasters out there. There's very few are professionals. There's very few who are running shows and are consistent. And it's a problem. And I'm not talking about money. Money and being professional are two separate categories.
Absolutely.
They can be together. They could be separate. They could be however you want to be. They could be crossing each other left and right. But professionalism is an attitude.
Yes, sir.
No.
For sure.
And so I think that's part of the issue right now with some of this. And I also
agree with that.
People criticize me, and I'm sure this is with comics, is certain people said, hey, man, you should have zigged when you zagged. And that's a fair criticism. And maybe I made a bad call on an interview. It happens, and guess what? I picked myself up.
You're never going to be perfect, bro. Ever. None of us.
I had one perfect interview. I had one. It was perfect from the start to the bottom. It was.
I mean in general. I just mean in general. We're never all going to make the right decisions all the time. there are plenty of times when April or Bladen has to be like, hey, Dustin, maybe we try this. And even if it doesn't work, right? Even if it doesn't work, we try. You know, even if it doesn't work, we still pick ourselves up, we dust ourselves off, and we go to the next idea. You know, there's always, you have, like, I'm very serious about that quote that you just made. It's real talk with any industry. You know, when you walk into a place and we go to a show, right? Let's say we go to a show. We went to a show a year and a half ago, April and I, and everyone knew who we were. They knew who we were, they knew who Tom was, and they knew Mike DeBalfo. Okay? But they didn't know 30 of the other people that were there. You know what I'm saying? It's not about making money all the time. It's about how you treat people and the respect you carry. So, yes, I'll never forget the guy that ran up and was like, hey, you do the naked dinosaur chicks. That's how the conversation started. He grabbed me by my arm, spun me around, little teeny kid, and was like, you do the naked dinosaur chicks. We want to get into comic books. And I was like, oh, man. You know what I mean? This is not the place, not the time. I appreciate your excitement. Holler at me through an email in a couple weeks. You know what I mean? I'm about it. But it's one of those things where now, being about 3 years in this industry, if you came to me and told me you were going to do it, I'd tell you not to. I honestly, with all my heart, would tell you not to. And it's not because I don't want to see people succeed. It's the exact opposite of that. Because when you succeed in this industry, it's lightning in a bottle. It really is lightning in a bottle. And you get all these cats that want to come in, they want to drop their time, they want to drop their money because they have a love for it. And I love that love for it. I respect it more than anything in the world. But I'll say this, if I didn't have the team, if I didn't have the support system or anything like that, I wouldn't be successful at all. I would be by myself on an island trying to be relevant, and I wouldn't be. You know, I really would not. I had one good book out and had a fan base, but as soon as we started growing and we did Babes Going Dinosaurs, it was done. You know, then it was If It Hops, done. And these are amazing projects because of all the people that work on them. Bro, you don't have 2 people that work on my books. There's like 8 people involved on every book that goes out. And that's something because, again, you and you have your eyes on this. And you can be like, hey, look, the anatomy is wrong here. You can be like, look here, that light is out. Hey, look, the color doesn't work. Something is going to be caught by someone.
See, this is interesting because I am a sole proprietor in my business, but I also run it through eBay and I hire help to ship out things.
Right.
Beyond that, though, you know, it's like TaskRabbit it is what I do, but it works. And I'm the CIO and I love it that way. And I just went through a pretty massive expansion and I'm learning a very valuable lesson that when you go through a $25,000 to $35,000 expansion, a lot of shit happens and a lot of problems arise and waters were tested. And believe me, there were plenty of sleepless nights during 6 months. And I was speaking with somebody and he said, it's a good problem to have because I got through it, but it's not a good problem that I wanted because I could have broke the business. And I don't think people understand it. It's such a weird thing to say.
Well, we all live through that. I'm going to tell you now, brother. It doesn't matter what you do. If you run a business, you all have the sleepless nights. You all have the terrified moments.
I was not expecting it. And it was, I thought that I was ready for this. And I'm glad I did it. Don't get me wrong. But you said it really well, where I would never tell anybody to do what I did. I would never tell anybody to do what I did, to go through such a massive expansion and seize it in the last 6 months, because that was not the right thing to do. Doing it slower.
Again, lightning in a bottle. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work for everyone. The same thing you did, like we get a lot of how'd you do it? How'd you make this happen? Or how'd you make that happen? And I'm going to say it's a lot of love and hard work. That's what I'm going to say, between groups of people, you know, and what it comes down to is there's no like directions that I could write down for you and make you succeed. You know, that's just never going to be possible. And look, dude, I have moments where I'm like, oh my God, you know, we have these moments where it's like, holy shit. Like I'll call April and be like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing right this second. Can you talk me off the ledge? You know, and it's literally because that's what it takes to run a business. If it was easy, everyone would do it. And I don't look at comic books like a typical business. I look at it as a team effort. And there's a concept, like if you look at Marvel, right? You look at old school Marvel, because I know we don't like talking about Marvel live. So we're old school Marvel or DC. Fuck it. Let's go DC. Look at old school DC, right? And even better, Image and Top Cow. Okay, Image and Top Cow. You have these cats that all left companies for the same reasons. They all left companies for the same types of problems they were having in the same fucking places. Okay, so they come together as a team. They all come together and they all bring something to the table. And that's the difference. That's why the company is lasting. That's why, you know what? I'm a Dark Horse fan through and through. But, you know, that's the reason the company didn't last. You know, it lasted its time. But when you start losing the IPs, you have to make your own. You know, Dark Horse survived off a few IPs. You know, same thing with IDW, surviving off a few IPs that other people made. Now, if you get a team together like Image and Top Cow did, and you bring your own IPs out, and your IPs are solid, like you got good ideas, but they're not just your ideas. You listen to this guy, this gal, that person, this da-da-da-da, so on and so forth. You know, like every book that comes out gets scrutinized by numerous members of my team, I promise. Like every single one of them. And it's one of these things where I know that I do better every book. I do better. And it's something I take a lot of pride in. But when you sit down and you talk numbers with people, they all tell you this. They want to get up there. It's all about money. And we're not. We're not all about money. We need to exist. We need to live.
I also think that a lot of people don't understand the concept of hardening an asset.
Oh, for sure.
And so I don't make money in comics. I have a business and I take money out of my business and I buy other assets with it. And right. I think everybody has a wrong mentality in comics where you could have a comic and if it does well, you can make money. But the way you really make money is not necessarily in comics. It's either you're going to license out your IP for a movie, a television show, or you might be one of the odd ones where you get a graphic novel that sells 50,000 copies every Christmas because it's just one of those. And those happen every once in a while.
Absolutely.
But the likelihood of it happening, I'm not saying it won't happen, it's hard. It's hard
for sure.
to happen. But the way people make real money in the world collectively is that they have a business and then they invest. And I think a lot of people don't want to have that conversation. And I think they're stuck in a position where they're like, I want to make $1 million selling my comic book. And I don't think that people can necessarily evolve out of that. And
I would agree to that to a degree. I think a lot of people have been have delusions of grandeur because of Netflix and stuff like that. But you have to remember what a lot of people forget is like Alan Moore had been writing forever before The Walking Dead. You know what I mean? He had like 70 something issues of that book out before it even got picked up for a show. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things
with The Walking Dead.
Yeah. You know, there's so many things. Look at Swamp Thing, right? Swamp Thing was the same difference. Amazing product, but it had been around forever before it was made into a live action show.
At Moon Knight. Look at Moon Knight. I mean, Moon Knight's a great example where that book was dog shit forever.
It really was. Like, I couldn't get rid of that book for ages. Like I could not until your speculative market walked in and was like, now we need to buy it because it's going to have a TV show. They do that with a lot of bullshit. Miss Marvel, fuck off. You know,
I mean, you know my Ultimate Fallout 4 story, right? So I'm on the East Coast and I was in New York a while back and now I live in Connecticut. And so I'm going to Midtown Comics in New York City on Free Comic Book Day.
Right.
What book are they giving out for free? First editions of Ultimate Fallout 4 in the poly bags. and they're just giving them out for free because they couldn't get rid of them. Now that book's like a $300-$400 book, and they were giving it out for free on Free Comic Book Day.
I couldn't get rid of it either for years. I couldn't get rid of it.
It wasn't until the Into the Spider-Verse came out, the first one, that book meant something, and now everybody wants the book, and there's a lot of copies
now
of it.
Miles is fucking everywhere. Now Spider-Gwen is everywhere. But that being aside, in the indie side of things, look at Sweet Tooth. Okay, Sweet Tooth was a cool concept. It was a cool concept. I don't think it was executed well, but it was a very cool concept. And again, that was an indie book. You know what I mean? Look at what is it? The Ice Cream Man. You know what I mean? All these little books that no one's heard of
Look at
are coming out.
Happy's a good one. Happy.
Yeah, exactly. There's it's silly how the get rich quick scheme works. You know what I mean? Well, like you said, it's all about investing. Like if you ask April, every dime that Ethereal makes basically gets rolled back into Ethereal. Like we invest in our own success. And I think that's important because a lot of people will be like, oh man, I just made, more money than I've ever made before, right? In a month. So you make that more money and then all of a sudden you're out doing shit you shouldn't be doing with it. Like my ass is like, hey, look, I paid the mortgage and I paid all the artists. I'm glad my wife works too. You know what I mean? It's like, and but that's what it takes. It takes pockets to make comics. And a lot of people don't understand that either. They come out and they're like, oh, I did a great book. And you're like, yeah, cool. It was great. Who's on it? Who's in it? Who worked with it? You know what I mean? And I think that's such an important thing that people don't even talk about because the indie scene, they want to come in. Again, Kickstarter gave people an avenue to make money. That's what it did. It gave people the avenue. And when you come into this avenue, though, and you're nobody, which we've learned, we all did it. So you come into this avenue as nobody. But I owned a shop before. I worked in this industry. I knew people. I had people that wanted to work on my books. You know what I'm saying? Every book we've put out has had banging people work on it, whether people knew who we were or not. And that's something that, yes, it costs money, but I wouldn't trade it in the world, for anything else. Because look at success is all about breeding it. You know what I mean? When you come in and you're like, I won once. Cool, man. You won once. You know what I mean? How are you going to win twice? Where's the third win coming from? What do you got for number 4? We're over here going, we're working on, we've got like the whole year booked for the rest of this year, plus the beginning of next year. Where's your short-term goals at, bro? You know what I mean? How much money do you need to make before this date to get to where you want to be? And I don't think people look at it like that. I think they come out, they put their stuff together, and that's not everybody. It's the get-rich-quick folks. They have an expectation. They're like, I'm going to be the man or the woman or what the fuck ever. They're going to do it. And you're like, cool, look, I want to see it. Hey, man, I'm a student of the craft. Teach me, So they come out and they put out their book and they're not happy with it. It doesn't do well. Did you expect it to?
Yes.
Right? You come out and you're just like, aha, my dick's bigger than yours. And I'm just like, cool, man. Let's see it. Whip that beast out. Show me how much better you are than me. Because we get those conversations and it's weird. Like you'll get artists that have never been published and they'll be like, I can do better than Chris Mad. And you're like, fuck off.
Now I'm all of a sudden very interested. I can't wait to see their portfolio.
Oh my God, right? I laugh. I'm like, sure you can. Or they're like, I'm going to tell you how to better your business. And I'm like, okay, well, what are your credentials? What have you got that I can grow from? Well, I haven't really published anything, but you're going to teach us. Well, yes. And I have to pay you. Yes. Fuck you, guy. It's and that's a sad thing because when you get into this industry, there are vultures everywhere, every fucking where in this industry, and they will take you for your money. They will take you for your time. Don't rely on other motherfuckers. Go out and do your shit. If it doesn't work, don't stay because you'll just keep throwing money at a wall. You know what I mean? Don't stay. Make your attempt.
It took me for those who know, it took me almost 10 years to get to this point.
Yep.
I've been doing this since I was in college, and it took me 10 years to figure out how to effectively run my business. I never failed. I don't consider it a failure but I wasn't doing it efficiently and effectively.
Sure.
And people don't understand. And when I say to somebody, hey, I see your business, I can help you, I'm not even charging. I'm saying, hey, here's my advice if you want it. Nobody ever takes my advice for free. Nobody ever takes my advice. And I'm like, I've been doing this. It took me 10 years and I could save you hundreds of thousands of hours. If we're in a 40-minute conversation, it's going to cost you 40 minutes. And nobody ever takes my advice. And nobody ever takes a phone call from me. And it's weird. It's weird. But like, there's this one guy and he found a Usagi Jumbo book.
Yeah.
In the house he bought. That's an $18,000 book. If it's like a 9.6. And so he found it. And all these people.
What was that book called? It wasn't Usagi Yojimbo when he started. It was another book. What was the name of that book?
Oh man, it's
very obscure.
I think the guy had like the third one, which is the third issue, which is a super rare one also.
Yeah.
Basically he found it in his attic and we were talking about it. I said, dude, I can't afford your book, but here's what I would do. If somebody offers you 16 grand, take the money and run.
Yeah.
Just take it, run, shut up, smile. And
dude, you got it for nothing. Then invest. Go buy some other books. Turn around, clean them up, and flip them.
What I said to him is, I said, because he bought it with his girlfriend or his fiance. I said, so what piece of jewelry are you getting her? And he laughed because it was a very funny moment. But all these people were trying to offer him like $4,000, and I was like, this is a disaster waiting to happen. Where I know the value of that book, but like, I agree. There's a lot of predators.
Predators exist, man. They're really relevant in the industry right now, and it's a shame again because they're not relevant in the indie industry. They're relevant in the Kickstarter industry, is what they're relevant in,
and the marketing, the pyramid stuff,
it's gross.
Fulfillment. Yeah,
it's so gross, and I think that the sad thing is when you come into this, you have no clue. You're like a newborn colt, right? You're trying to figure out how to walk and you're stumbling and you're falling and you think people have your best interest in mind. They really don't. They don't give a shit about you. They're all out for themselves. And that's cool because we figured it out, right? Like we learned, we went with it and then we're like, okay, cool. Look, you got me for like $3,000. You're not going to get me anymore, So when
I was fortunate enough that I've been around. I've been around for so long that, and I interview so many people that I could be like, hey, is this person legit?
Yeah.
I am, because I've been doing this for 10 years interviewing, and I know a lot of people. I'm like, what's the deal with this person? And I would just ask somebody, and people have asked me, and I've advised people to stay the fuck away.
Yeah. Save yourself. Run now. Yeah, no, for sure. I think that the industry is a lot of fun. Like we're about to do, and when I say the industry, I do mean the people that are in it, and like right now we picked up Dan Wickline, who's a great friend of April's, and we're very, very excited about that.
I know Dan Wickline. He used to do a bunch of stuff for Zemscope.
Yeah, such a nice guy.
He's been on my show. He's been on my show. It's great.
He just wrote a script for a new series we've got coming out. He's got an ongoing series that'll be coming out through Ethereal. And we're very pumped about it. But it was it's one of those things where the more you're around, the more you accomplish, right? So like we were talking earlier, we've got we pushed the Halloween books back a couple weeks. And the Halloween books have been such an insane thing for us. Because again, we've never done a mini series, right? So doing a mini series and releasing them all close together has been batshit crazy. Because it's not only a continued story in each issue, but we decided that we were going to have I decided, so everybody can blame me for this one. I decided that we were going to do a different interior artist for each book. So you have the same colorist, different interior artists throughout each issue. And it was a lot of fun to see come together. Like it was a ton of fun.
Let's actually talk about this because I'm a little confused, which means somebody is going to be watching this. Might be a little
Absolutely.
confused. So I'm going to ask something that might seem stupid, and if I'm the only one
Never.
who's confused, I apologize to everybody advancedly.
Never.
What exactly is this series? Because I know it's 3 separate issues.
Yep.
And I think, is it one issue's releasing and then 3 or 4 weeks later, another one's releasing? And then
that's how we're doing it. So normally we do 2 books a month. So instead of doing what we would normally do, we'd have a different book behind the following book. We're actually running this Halloween thing together. Because it was just so much fun to put together. Like we all had a really good time with it. And then all of a sudden it was like, we started getting covers in for it and they're all batshit. Like all of them are crazy. And so what we did was we created a world with outside of Ethereal with all of our characters. So like anybody that's in an Ethereal book can show up for a holiday special. You know,
so it's like Dragon Ball GT.
Absolutely loved GT. Oh my god,
GT was great. GT was a blast to watch. It was so much
when we were kids. Like when it came out, it was so good.
I mean, how old are you? Because I don't think it's offensive to ask. Because I'm 30.
Yeah,
so I remember it.
Oh well, I'm fucking 38. So anyway, so the whole deal with having all the characters in was fun because we could have different types of interactions. Like we have a ton of fans, and our fans write their own fanfics, right, for our characters and stuff. And it's like, you know, my daughter calls it shipping. Okay, I'm learning about language now. So everybody wants to ship this character with this character, and that means they like that character or some shenanigans like that. So like I can go into this world outside of the worlds and play around with the characters in ways that we would normally not use them, you know. But it is a ethereal book, so it is action packed. It is very gory. It is very intense and super fun. Again, it is outside the canon universes. So if I kill somebody, don't worry about them losing them in your favorite book. You know, it's not a big deal, I promise.
Or should you?
Should you?
Please be sure to email him all of your concerns, complaints.
If you don't think so the most email I get right now is we want to see naked Ricky more. I get that more than anything. Yes. Big red boy. We get a lot of that, but no, it's a lot of fun. It's 3 issues, full books, 24 pages, full color, each of them. There is guaranteed to be, fan service in them. There's guaranteed to be action, whatever.
I mean, as long as somebody's playing beer pong, I'm happy.
Yeah. That was so much fun. That was so much fun. Like, as I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, how do I start like a Halloween event? And I'm like, well, this is what we used to do at the house. So we'll just run it like that. Like every weekend.
In full disclosure, this is the only reason why we're doing this interview. I saw that panel. I'm like, we got to talk.
So much fun. It was so much fun. Like the whole her flashing her and getting her to miss the fucking ball. That happened at my house. That's why we wrote it in the book, because it happened in real life. You know, those events happen. We used to throw oh my God, I get in so much trouble talking to y'all. We used to throw, my wife sees this, I'm gonna get my ass kicked. We used to throw parties every weekend before my kids were born. Every single weekend we were throwing parties at our house. Because we were like, in our 20s, we were established at like 22. You know what I mean? We bought our first home at like 24. You know, so we were like always had beer at the house and stuff. So people would always be there. So we just started, throwing parties every fucking weekend. And especially for Halloween, holy shit. And then all of a sudden getting people to miss the cups was, a relevant way to play. So yeah.
You're like putting my life to shame. My life is boring. It's quiet. It's peaceful. Like amazing.
I like quiet.
Yeah, I like now that I'm getting old, I'm like, I got all that shit out of me. Now I can write about it. I don't have to live it anymore. I can just write about it.
Now you got your kids to vicariously live through.
Yeah. I definitely do have 2 of those.
Yeah.
So, but no, It's very exciting. Now is an exciting time. There are a couple companies that are doing some amazing things right now. I love watching their success. Like Ryan just went and expanded his business. I love that. He's a great guy. We just brought on JT Malloy, like doing interiors. Lots of really cool stuff going on right now. Mitch Massey's taken over the Listener, which is absolutely insane. I can't wait to delve into that.
Dude, I'm really stoked about that. I can't wait.
Dude, I'm like, that's like a revival of that book, in my opinion. So I'm not going to try to put any new issues out.
Let's actually dive into this book a little bit. So is the first issue coming out in 2.5 weeks?
Yeah, we're doing all our best to get it out. As soon as we get the okay, we're going to hit the button. It doesn't matter what day it is. We'll let everybody know we're going to hit the button, and we'll hit the button for pre-orders.
And then are you then? So that's going to be the first issue, and then are you going to be doing the second issue in September?
The next issue will be 2 weeks later on our other account. So
you know why I'm asking, because this is a little untraditional.
It's very different from what we normally do, for sure.
And I'm a little bit confused on it. And that's why I want clarification.
So you'll get issue 1, then issue 2 will drop. Then we're going to take a break and we're going to drop There Be Shadows.
No,
Where They Dwell. Might be. April's got me. See, like I said, my head would roll. Where They Dwell. And I wanted to drop Where They Dwell before Halloween just because of what the book is about. So I wanted to make sure that we got it out before Halloween. And then the third issue for the miniseries will drop. So you've got 1, 2, space, then 3.
Because again, a little confusing, and I cannot be the only one. If I am,
you're so good. You're so good. We haven't even really talked about it outside of issue 1. You know what I mean? So there's the cool thing is, again, the really, really cool thing is we let all the artists go ham for the covers. They're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. And we haven't even shown a third of them yet. So we're really, really happy with them.
Now, real quick question. On the off chance that you miss one or the first one or the second one, but you get in on the third one, will you be having the first 2 as add-ons available?
Absolutely. Okay. Like if you miss issue 1 and you jump on issue 2, you'll be able to grab issue 1. If you miss issue 1 and 2, you'll be able to grab 1 and 2 on the third campaign. If you miss issues, just 2, you'll be able to grab 2. If you miss just 1, you'll be able to grab 1. You know what I mean? I don't want anyone to miss out on this because I shit you not, I had so much fun writing this book that it was ridiculous. Like it was stupid. Like it was just fun. And I think people, our fans will have a really good time with it because I did recognize their fan fictions and their opinions and their thoughts about the characters. So I think that's really cool.
So let's actually even dive into this because I think it's interesting when people get to play with alternative worlds.
Yeah,
I love alternative worlds building.
For sure.
Other people have done it. I think it's really clever. I think it's a fun way how to do things that normally wouldn't happen. And I really like it. My favorite thing that's ever happened in comics is Ruby Justice League.
Oh yeah,
I think it's just a fun book. I don't think it's DC's best product, but I think it is what a comic book should be. Yep. And they've done like animation stuff with it. And I love it. I love every aspect of it. And I hope they continue it. And I think it's a real winner for DC because people love Ruby. People love the Justice League. And who doesn't want Superman and Ruby Rose hanging out and fighting crime? I mean, it's a blast. It's a blast. So to me, that is not canon in any way. And that's what makes it fun. Because guess what? You could do things with characters that don't exist. And what is this like? Because now you have a whole alternative world being built where a bunch of characters who don't have anything to do with each other and are not in the same universes or on opposite sides are in the same room. And who knows what could happen. And it creates a whole, I guess, it kind of creates DC Black for you in certain ways.
It does. So we treat it as these characters have known each other for years. And then when we add a new character, like say Valentine's Day next year, You know, if we release another one, I think we're doing something else. But if we release another one of these like this for Valentine's Day, we would add the main character from There Be Shadows, or where not There Be Shadows, sorry, Where They Dwell. You know, you'd have, you know, him come in and introduce himself, and maybe they meet him at the candy shop when they're buying a gift for a significant other, whatever, what have you. But we would introduce him to the actual continuity in that Elseworld type of book, you know. But no, it's what we're doing with them is we're there. It's very more realistic than the comic books themselves. Like, you're not superheroes, you don't have any abilities. It's not really, these are all characters that are normal, everyday individuals, except they keep their figure. You know, if it was a dinosaur chick, she stays a dinosaur chick. She's a bunny, she stays bunny. You know what I mean? And they all have normal jobs, and they work their regular jobs, and they just happen to be getting to hang out. We just happen to throw a serial killer into the mix with this. So, yeah, that's about where that's at.
I just think it's smart, and I think a lot of people just don't know how to juice their characters and get every aspect out of it.
So much fun.
It'd be hilarious if the serial killer dressed up as Captain Crunch.
It would be. I don't know that I could make that happen, but it would be. You think you're funny. I don't even eat that. Anyway, so no, the deal with the cool, like, being able to put them all together was super fun, because everybody's like, you know, Eve and Maya are always around each other. They're always little touches in Babes, Gore, and Dinosaurs that we put in, you know, like an accidental like touch of the hand, or we have these embarrassing moments in between the characters and stuff, and we show real affection. And people are like, oh, well, they're together. You know, they're definitely together. And so I play with that a little bit in the Elseworlds book. You know what I mean? Because people expect that. That's what they want to see. They want to see these two characters interact, you know. And there's like but who would Ricky, you know, be with, or who would so-and-so be with? We explore all these different things. But it's also like, what would happen if you take all these legitimate badasses and put them in a situation together? Who's going to make it out alive? You know, and that's what this 3-issue. Do you remember Halloween H2O?
What are you referring to?
I'm fucking old. So Halloween H2O was the Halloween where they were Busta Rhymes was in it, and they were videotaping in a house.
I don't. Right.
So the gist of it was it was a film crew, and he was pretending to be Michael Myers and faking killing these actors in this house, right? And it was supposed to be a huge social media blow up thing. Okay, when social media first started, it's supposed to be a big deal. Well, that's kind of what this is like. Our characters end up in this house, and they don't know how they got there, and they're trying to escape essentially with just their bare hands, each of them. You know, so you've got these characters. Yes, some are military, some are, you know, ex-military, some are just artists, some are just newspaper boys. You know what I mean? And they're trying to exist throughout this legitimate serial killer-esque situation. There's no superpowers. There's nothing insane. How would they make it out? You know, and I think that's scary because you don't know who your killer is. You don't know how you ended up where you are. You're disoriented when you got there, you know, and you start finding your friends dead and you have no clue what to do, you know. So, and each book is written from different perspectives, from different character perspectives. So some characters may have seen something others didn't. So the reader knows something that the characters don't. And then it ties together in another issue, but the characters still don't, but the reader understands what's happening. You know, there's a lot going on with it. And I agree with you. I think that the Elseworlds are tons of fun, and I'm about it, man. I think it's great.
And to even go further into, obviously, you're going to have great covers. You're going to have a lot of people on there. I think Steph Wilson's on there.
Mm-hmm.
I think obviously April's on a few covers by nature, hopefully. Yes or no?
Not on this book, no.
Oh, I stand corrected. But I know Steph's on this. I know there's a few others.
Oh yeah, we've got some amazing talent on the covers. Vic Moya's in there. We've got Chris Harden that we've got a cover that we're waiting for. Hedwin Zaldivar is coloring one.
Sugar Spit's on a couple of them.
Sugar Spit. Hibrin art is on there. We've got some awesome stuff.
Monsters, man.
Totally.
Outside of even the normal team. Yeah, there's some cool stuff.
Yeah.
And so obviously you got a bunch of covers on there, but there's also something outside of all this and more into the business side of this is that you're doing it in a very short amount of time. And so obviously if somebody gets in on issue 1, naturally they're gonna probably gravitate towards issue 2. And
I hope.
Yeah. I mean, I'm presuming because
that's the goal. So anytime I put a book out, like I said, we had an issue last year that pushed most of our products back like 4 months. You know what I mean? And so my goal has always been to, if it hops we do a 90-day window. Okay. That's our order. It's a 90-day pre-order. So if you've owned a shop or you've ever worked with Diamond, Diamond is a 90-day window. So that's where we built that off of. We were like, okay, well, if it works for them, it works. We don't need to break it, so 90-day window. And it's good for shops. It helps them do their orders and stuff like that. So 90-day window puts you at the next issue of If It Hops. So you're receiving this issue as the new pre-order drops. So now it's in your head and you're reading it and you're enjoying it. Now I want to pick up issue this because I enjoyed this issue. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way that I run my business. It's, I never want you to forget a book, so if I go too long, you're upset that it took too long to get the next issue.
That's where I'm going with this, because the thing is that if somebody drops a issue in issue 1 and 2 every 6 months, I mean, it's not completely gone out of my head, but I don't really remember what happened in issue 1.
Absolutely.
And I'll be very honest, there's books that I don't even remember what happened last month in. I mean, there's a lot of shit going on in my life.
For sure.
And I forget things, and I can't be the only one. And if I am, again,
I don't know what color my underwear are. So,
well, if you buy a 6-pack of Whitey Tidies, you never have to worry about it.
I've not bought a pair of those in like 30 years.
Well, that's because you've got a wife who takes care of you.
That's true. She loves me. She makes sure I have the best britches.
There you go.
Yeah, no, dude. You're absolutely
coming around,
right.
so if they're full of
but
holes.
One thing that you'll find, again, in the actual, when you look at the actual if you're looking at who's actually working in the industry, you'll notice that they put out books more frequently. You'll also notice that they'll put out a book within a time period so you can generally remember what you've read. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We just did, we're about to drop Underland. Like, we're about to print the new Underland book. And so the second one's already finished. So it's like, okay, so everybody knows the Kickstarter's done for it. So now we just put that one out as soon as we possibly can. You'll have it within 3 months of the first issue, and now you're like, oh, dope, I read that. Sometimes as a guy that's owned a comic shop, I've witnessed people not be able to get there for a month, 2 months, but when they get there, they pick up their books and they're happy they got all their books. They got their pull books. They're stoked about it. They get to read them, yada, yada. It's different when you're talking about people that are buying for flipping or people that are hunting covers, which we love that too. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you want to grab a cover, dope, man, grab the cover that you want. You don't have to read the story to enjoy the cover that you wanted to pick up. I like you to read the books, but I also love that you love the artwork. I really do. And I think it's really cool when we see like we'll get artwork that'll blow the shit out of our minds. Like every now and then one comes along and you're like, holy fucking shit, and I really think Sugar Spit has hit that like twice in a row for me. The Cretaceous cover they put out was gorgeous, and we're going to show. Well, we've got the Halloween cover that they just did, and the whole deal with they have a character spanking another character in a costume, and it's super cute. So I'm pumped about it. But outside of that, man, no, continuity is big, and being able to give people not closure, but more excitement, right? Like if you get a book and you only publish once a year, people are going to be like, oh man, what was your book again? Who are you? You know, and it's not easy for people to be able to put out content swiftly, you know, and I think that's one thing that I'm very proud of. I'm very proud of the teams and how fast they work. You know, we've got like, look at right now, Fallen Leaves is showing up everywhere. It's showing up in stores. It's in people's houses. Everybody's loving it. But issue 2, Gabriel has taken a couple months longer to finish it because he's so in depth with the actual pages. Like I was so blown away when I started seeing them come out. Like I was like, oh yeah, because like I said, we give you that 90-day window, so they have 90 days to do, you know, their work that they need to get done. And sometimes you'll get an artist that gets in the zone, you know, and they take a little bit longer. And he's just like, he's killing these pages. Like I can't even be mad. I'm not even like, I can't even remotely be upset. I'm just like, those are the prettiest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. And that being our highest selling IP right now is Fallen Leaves. And people like the elves, they like the dwarves, they like the fantasy setting, you know. And I actually got April to like elves, and I know she doesn't like elves. So I succeeded.
I hate that you made me care about that book.
I love elves.
I'm not saying I don't like elves. I'm just saying that like I like other things better, and I was hoping to like skip out on not having to care about that book, but I care about it now because you know you're dumb genocide. It's fine.
Yeah,
it was a cute little elf, and I love it.
Was so much fun. I think that again, we put out different types of product. Like when you look at Fallen Leaves,
you know what it was. I accidentally read that story and then I drew the cover. I was the only one that took it real serious.
So you were mentioning something that I think is interesting is that, I mean, I love elves. My logo is a cute little elf. She's adorable, super, super cute. Got that logo so cheap. I freaking robbed that artist so badly. It's she offered me a price and I accepted. What can I say? I would have paid her like 4 times more with in like a heartbeat, but I was happy. But I digress. But you mentioned something where you put out a lot of different product, and I like companies that put out a lot of product. I'm a big fan of Peacock right now.
Absolutely.
I love Crunchyroll. They put out a lot of. They don't put out a lot of anime, but they distribute it or stream it or however.
For sure.
And I think Netflix is another one. And I like companies, you know. I'm a fan of Merc Mag in certain ways when I pick up their stuff, and they put out a decent amount of product.
Yeah.
You know, you have Born of Blood, then you have Miss Meow, and then you have Death Rage. I mean, you know, there's different product, and I tend to like Born of Blood a lot.
What was that one called? Deadpool 2.0? What was that called?
Death Rage, I want to say.
Oh, yeah. I'm just giving you shit.
I'm sorry. But I think it's really
I am very I will fight for originality till the end of days. And when you do something like Marvel did with the Sentry and you recolored Superman, I'm not a fan. You know what I mean? So anyway, just me and a slight dig there.
But I'll give you an example. So I couldn't get past, given my surgery, and it's a little raw, your book where like the girl is like the cyborg mecha thing, like that hit a little too close to home for me. A little too close for me. I'm not ready for that book.
That cover, that Derek Tipton cover, his artwork is my own personal obsession now.
That cover is just it's nothing against that cover and that book. It's just a little too close for me right now. a
Yeah,
little
because
too
you're a metal
close
guy
to
now. You're a robot guy.
because of my surgery with my foot. Like
Yeah.
it just makes me feel it in my foot. Like I can't
Yeah.
explain it. I mean, I think the book looks great, but I'm not ready for it. And that's why
Mhm.
you need to have different products.
Yes,
Where
absolutely.
Frog Legs I can handle. I cannot handle that book right now. I am not
That
mature
is,
enough, and I accept that as my fault.
it's so much fun. They're almost done with the additional 6 pages, which I love. I love the 6 pages add-on. Not the add-on, but the stretch goal. I think that's one of my favorite things to do. Like, no bullshit. I really do. And everybody's like, well, you should save that and make more money doing that. And I was like, I have no interest in, again, it's the storytelling aspect of it. I don't want I've never needed that additional yada yada to get me past. I really want to write this. So when you get to a point and you're like, man, we just broke the stretch goal, I get excited because I'm like, yeah, I'm not the guy going, oh, I've got to pay 400, 500 more dollars to get that done. That's not what my mind is saying. My mind's going, man, I get to write, 6 additional pages. And it's been, man, it was so much fun for Frog Legs because again, when you start a new series with a new art team, they're learning characters. They're learning, the art, how you want the art to be. They're working with our art director. They're working with April on colors. They're seeing things entirely differently than they've ever seen before. So, like, if you look at an artist that's worked on Ethereal for a while, and you go to their first piece of Ethereal work and their modern piece of Ethereal work, it's night and day difference. And I think that's so cool because I was just talking to Elberty about Frog Legs the other night, and he was like, I just feel like I'm doing so much better the more that I do this book. And I'm like, man, I love that. I absolutely love, the concept of that book, the voodoo, the food, all that stuff plays such a, and it's not a, I'm not going to say that it's not an action oriented book, but it's so much more to it. I don't want to just, I can give you guys an action packed book all day, every day. But I like the food concept. I like the connection. I like the connection with voodoo. I like, the whole deal with, cats and snakes and voodoo. All of it. I like the area, Louisiana. I like, the bayou. I like being able to write in that area. And I also like the fact that Frog Legs is very sensual on like a not come hither, fuck me type of thing, but it's very sensual. Like the characters, their interactions and stuff are very.
I use the word coy in a lot of
Okay,
ways,
right on.
in which
Yeah,
like the first 6 pages I think that we're on. That's
yeah,
the vibe I got between the 2 characters
for sure.
and the man and the woman. I found it a very coy, push and pull, a little bit
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on, and some of
It's
that.
fun.
I don't know if I'm dead on because I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's very much like that. Celine is she is a very sweet character, but she's also the boss. You know what I mean? Celine is the boss, and Sebastian is a character that is coming into his own. He's just moved back home. He's opened his own restaurant. He's very excited, and this chick walks in the door that's like, "Hey, look, I need a job, and you're awesome, and I want to be a cook, whatever, a chef." And he's like, well, okay, well, you got to start doing with this. This is how we're going to start this, But she's also like, has this animal magnetism that he's just like overwhelmed by. And I used to criticize that style of writing. I really did. I used to be like really against it years and years ago because I'm a big anime fan and a big manga fan. And you see that a lot. You see the more timid male character toward the very aggressive female character. And I was like, man, I'm going to do that. That's what we're going to do with this. And so, like, he gets picked at a lot by a certain character that you guys will meet in the first issue, almost like belittled a lot. And he's like trying to figure it out. Eventually, you start realizing that it's not a book about one character, it's a book about multiple characters. And you'll see their different perspectives and everything throughout the book. It is also the first time we've shown any kind of fornication in an Ethereal Blue Label book. So it's fun. But again, there's no like, it's not graphic. It's just insinuated what's occurring, and it was a lot of fun. I think Sebastian's going to be a character that people like really grow with. And Celine's great because she can actually, you can find her in like 3 different books of ours. You'll eventually see her in different places. So, and she's mysterious. She's almost like
You're gonna title hop.
yeah, absolutely. She's almost like a
break the fourth
raven.
wall.
No, yeah, being able to put her in different books. I mean, Frog Legs is in the same world as Green and the Listener. So you can find her you'll find her in different places. But she is almost like a raven for us. She's that magical character that has their, shadowy backstory. You can't really tell if they're a good guy or a bad guy, but what she claims is hers. And that's fun to me, So I think people really, really dig it as it's coming out. But I wish I could tell you that she's in the house with the serial killer, but I can, and she is. So a lot of fun with that character. So, and she also is in that continuity a follower of Wicca. So you'll get to see her, some relevances there and whatnot.
Fair enough. And then obviously I do want to back out because I know you got a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, we covered a lot of stuff, but I am curious more because you mentioned something about stretch goals, and I find that to be interesting. Where I'm guilty of this, where I like backing projects sometimes because of stretch goals. There's people who do really good stretch goals and really fun ones, and they make it hard for me not to back their project because I'm like, well, they got some really good stretch goals. And so what is that like? Because I think some people do it really well. I think some people do it bad. And I think some people do it really bad.
I think people overshoot stretch goals. They overshoot them because we treat them as free. They're free to y'all, right? They're free to the backer. Because I don't include that in the cost of the book or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So it or the cost of shipping, So like there are certain things that I've watched people do. And let's say they had an $8,000 Kickstarter and it was the best they've ever had. But then they turn around and they drop $2,000 on stretch goals. And I'm like, why you do this? You know what I mean? That's not an effective way to make money. Now you're in the hole. If you're me, you're in the hole because of what we spend on our books. You know what I mean? So if you go, hey, Dustin, what are you going to do? And we go, hey, look, we've got a sticker that's free. You know what I mean? That's a nice sticker. And then you go, well, do you know what a sticker costs? I mean, what people don't realize is that sticker that you've got, because I don't give you a piece of shit sticker, costs me 50 cents per sticker. So when you get to,
plus the cost of the art.
Plus the cost of the art. Well, yeah, now. So now the cost of the art. But when, like, my thing was, before we were doing stickers using the art we had. We would put a sticker in there from the actual book or whatever. And now we've got a great artist doing stickers for us that you guys are getting. But it's 50 cents plus the cost of the art, which is, a chunk. So now you're going, is it worth us doing this, this, and this? Or should we do this, this, and this? Because you don't want to outsell yourself with stickers or with, stretch goals. If you got someone that's buying your book for the stretch goals, that's dope. But you need to acclimate your sales to that stretch goal. If you say $12,000 stretch goal, okay, and you needed 14 to break even, don't do that. That's insane. Don't do that. So, but if you go like us, we normally do a collectible card, a really nice collectible card, and then we do a sticker and the additional 6 pages plus a mini print. Okay, so it's a small mini print, And so that's like $12,000 stretch goal for me, because I'm going to spend $200 to $300 on printing the sticker. I'm going to spend another $100 on the cards. I'm going to spend another $150 on the mini prints. You know what I'm saying? So now you're going to talk about your additional pages, which are going to cost me around $600, if not a little bit more than that. So now you're at $1,000-something in stretch goals. Now that's us, and we do well. So if you go to the guy that is like, oh man, I'm going to put in this, like we did we were going to do coasters, right? These thick ass drink coasters, and the art on them was great, right? At $20,000 for Fallen Leaves. And they got lost in customs. But anyway, that's a whole different animal. But when I looked at what it would cost me to ship them after the fact, like in each Gemini, it was ridiculous what it was going to add to my shipping costs. And I don't think that's what people don't really think about that when they start doing these things. They're like, I'm just going to do this dope thing, and I'm going to add this, and I'm going to add this, and I'm going to entice people to buy this. And it's like, cool, but people want to buy your product. Don't break your bank so you can't make the product next time. Don't come at it like, I'm going to give you so much free shit that I can't afford to make the next product. And I think that happens a lot when people go, like, I'll look at a campaign and I'll see somebody, they'll spend $15 on a book, but they'll get $40 worth of stretch goals. And I'm like, bro, what? You know what I mean? Like, what? How is that mathematically, sane what you're doing? But again, you don't see the big kids doing that stuff. You really don't. If you look at
there's one who does that, but he could afford to do it.
Yeah, but if you're making 50 a campaign, it's different. You know what I mean? Like,
you're making 400,000 a campaign.
Yeah, that's another animal altogether. Well, if you're making that kind of money on a campaign, you can paint your statues well. That's all I'm saying.
I was talking about Brian Polito because he does a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying. Don't pay any attention to the guys that hang out at the water cooler. You know what I mean? All I'm saying is, if you got it like that, you can afford to do it. But what you're not paying attention to is when Brian does that, Brian's also, that's 500, 600 backers, whatever. And then you turn around and you look at what he's now got to spend because he did that. You know what I mean? Now he's got to spend $10,000 on stretch goal shit, $15,000 on stretch goal shit. It's just, it's one of those things where you want the backer to buy the book for the book, but you want them to get some nice things on the side. You have to find a balance. You really do. I think. And now if there's somebody out there that's, doesn't pay dick for their products, but then they want to throw massive, free shit out there to get attention. I watch guys do comic books. I think that's funny as fuck. They throw comic books in as their stretch goals. If you buy, if you get my comic book and you do this and we make this much money, I'll throw in 3 Marvel books. I'm like, what the fuck? So I see that shit, and that shit makes me chuckle, but, now this guy's like, hey man, did you see that guy might be giving away a Hulk 181 in his things? We're just going to spend $30. It's like a monopoly just to see if we can get that shit. It's like, wow, fuck. I mean, like, what? Who's not getting in on that book just to get that goddamn 181? So it's interesting, but at the same time, again, that's why people either they succeed or they don't. They don't look at it business minded. They come at it like, I can give you free shit because I want to be nice and give you free shit. Cool. I love everybody. I want to give everybody free shit, but it's not free on our end. You know what I mean? Well, and again, I think that if you're putting out additional pages, that's a big deal to me. Like, if you're going to spend the time to put out like full pages and not just like throwing a bunch of shit out there, if you're putting out real story pages, dude, that's a quarter of a book, 6 fucking pages. I'll take that all day, every day over a bookmark that I won't fucking use You know what I mean? That's going to end up somewhere in my office, and then I'll find it in a year. You know, or a fucking like a fucking Pog or some shit. You know, but action like your collectible cards, I think are great. You know, like if you do them well, I think they're great.
I'm a big metal card guy. I love
Mhm.
those because I have a lot of them and I have a collection.
Yeah.
And I find that if you put really cool art or you put a cover that's impossible to find on a
Uh-huh.
metal card, that's always nice.
Yep.
So because sometimes these covers are $200-$300 sometimes that people
Yep.
have in the indie world. And I'm like, cool, it's on a metal card. So at least I have the art and it's
Yeah.
shiny and it's small.
Absolutely.
And then like that stuff, I'm a card
Man,
collector.
people get me to do things and I laugh because I don't think about it because I do things out of kindness, you know. They'll be like, hey man, can you give us a medal and mark it one of like 5? And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that's a real good idea because I'm gonna print the other 4 for myself. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'll get you one. I'll make it one of 5. You can get the first one, you know, and then I'll see it. Like I saw one at a show last year. Dude had just put out for like $250. And I was like, holy balls, I didn't even make that off it. You know what I mean? So it's really cool to see the long game. You know what I mean? Like I'm very grateful and I love taking care of our team, but I look at stores and I look at investors as other like extensions of our team. Like they're literally out there going, man, I just made your book's worth this because I made it worth this. You know, and you're like, oh shit, that's fucking cool. You know, like, you know,
I've
because
seen
once we
books
print
worth
books,
things.
like once we print, they're done. You know what I mean? Like they're done. So like if I print like for LEs, I don't ever go back and I'm not like, oh yeah, I gotta get some extra LEs. No, they're fucking done. You know what I mean? That's it. So if you got like a Year of the Blue Flame cover, we'll never print those again. We'll never use that art on anything else again. You know, so it's fun to see. I dig it, man. I love checking eBay every now and then. And I'm like, oh shit. You know, so I mean, this stuff of ours you can put on eBay anyway.
You can put it all on eBay. It's if you get caught.
Yeah, man. I'm pumped. Like I think working with investors, working with flippers, working with people is an interesting way of extending the business. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I'm very fond of it, to be honest with you.
So obviously I invest in comics, I flip comics, I sell comics, I like retail packages. And I think it's actually the other side of the business. And I think that I don't want to say comic shops are dead because I don't think they are, but I think that it's another avenue.
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
if I come to you and I want to sell 10 of your books,
Mhm.
and then they all sell in my eBay shop, and I made, let's say I made $50 on everything when it's all said and done, and I cleaned 50 in profit, I'm going to come back to you. And now all of a sudden, what if every time you have a campaign, you're not going to print another 20 books because you know I'm buying? You just made 20 sales that legitly cost you no effort. And I think a lot of people get very upset when they see something on eBay, but I don't think people also realize that if I'm making like $15 on it, I'm not making a hell of a lot.
No, not least. It's a long game with stuff like that. You know what I mean? I think like right now, our retail package is what is it? 50 books for $7.50 a piece. So it puts you right at $400 for 50 copies. And that's literally like I spend $4 to print the book, each book. So you're literally copping it for $3.50 over print cost. So then when you turn around and go, hey, Dustin, can I get 40 wild covers? I'm like, yeah, cool. It's the same price. 40 wilds, take them. You know, and those retail at $19.99 versus the $14.99, but I have plenty of shops that I know that don't sell them retail. They sell them for considerably more than what I retail them for. And I'm okay with that. I'm super okay with it. We did a signing in Chattanooga 2 years ago with Greed, and we did an exclusive for them. And I remember telling the dude, I was like, they're $14.99 and $19.99, right? One has the trade dress and the other one has virgins, you know. And when I went in there, he was selling trade dress for $19.99 and virgins for $29.99. And I'm sitting there signing these books, and the dude made like $2.5 grand over what he paid me. You know what I mean? In less than 8 hours.
But
And
you seen to even talk about that, because this is something that I think a lot of creators don't understand, is that you need to make money, and the person who's selling your book needs to make money.
absolutely.
Because if they don't make money on your book, they're not going to buy
Why are
your
they going to buy it?
again.
That's exactly right.
And they're going to go out of business, which, you know, if they make a bunch of bad decisions like that again and again and again, they will go belly up.
Mm-hmm.
And this
So,
is what people.
I didn't complain. I didn't go, hey, look, I need to make more money because you just made like $2,500 more than I made. You know what I mean? That's not the case. I was like, holy crap, that's incredible. When can I set up your next order? You know, there's it's not, look, man, one hand washes the other. That's how the industry has to work. And that's the issue. And that's what people don't understand. When you come in and you go, man, I really like right now, I can walk up to, you know, anybody in this industry and go, man, I really like your product. Like I can do it with a straight face. I can smile and be happy about it because it's true. I like the entire industry. I love the industry for what it is. So, but if you go, well, I don't want to sell so-and-so's books because they're this, then I'm like, oh man, now I don't know what you're saying about my book. You know what I mean? Or so I tend to walk in with a big smile on my face and I want to help you make money. That's my goal. When it comes to shops, when it comes to retailers, when it comes to online stores, because I treat online stores just like I treat shops. You get the same deals. So it's like when I walk in, I'm like, hey, look, bro, I want to make this happen for you. I want to make you money, you know, because like typically a metal, if you go to another company that's anything like ours, is $70, you know, roundabout minimum for a metal book. And of quality, let's be fair, of quality.
We'll use a company that I like, and I think you like the company too. Mount Olympus, they sell metal for $70.
Absolutely. So do you know what I sell metal for? Do you know what I sell metal for?
I'm going to take a guess, 50.
I sell a metal for $35. That's what I sell a metal for. And you know how many people flip our books for way more than that? A lot. So I love being able to help people afford this business. I love that. As long as I can afford to pay our team and keep the lights on, that's all I've ever needed. You know, and I'm grateful and I'm blessed that more and more people are learning about the brand, because it's like right now, if I go, hey, look, we're only doing 15 metals, it means we're only doing 15 metals. You know, that's all we're doing. So if you go, well, I got the number one, or I got April's, you know, an AP copy from something from April. Dope, man. You do what you want with it. We sold it to you for what we thought was a fair price. Same thing with original art. Original art at Ethereal goes for like $120 a page. Doesn't matter who did it, for like $120 a page. So I'm like, as a kid, as a comic collector, even in my mid to early 20s, there was no way I could afford original pages ever. Like it would have never happened. So I'm over here going, you want a page from Ethereal? I'm super happy to get you a page. You know, I want you to dig it. I want you to love it. I want you to have it, you know, just don't put it on your wall with fucking thumbtacks and we're going to be best friends, you know? So it's just,
I'm going to use Scotch tape.
Oh, Scotch tape. Painter's tape is the only thing I will find acceptable if we're going that route. But no, it's something that I believe that we as a company can, over time, take things back to a way that they were, where people were happier. I think we can. I literally think we can. Right now, we've got enough motion to continue moving forward to where we can be like, hey, look, this is old school comic creation. That's what it is. It's 60 fucking people that all get along, that are out here trying to do the best they can to give you quality content.
I think there's a lot of people trying to do that right now, and I think it's tough because I'll be honest, I'm very cynical about this, where I don't know who to trust in comics anymore.
I get that. Me neither. Don't feel bad.
In which that it's a shitty thing to say, and as an interviewer, after doing this for 10 years, almost 500 plus interviews,
Yeah,
half the people that I've interviewed, I don't think I can trust them, which is crazy.
that's terrible.
Did you
But
say
I'm with you. No, I'm with you. I totally get that. I tell people that Ethereal is an island. Okay, you'll never see us go out. You'll never see us cross promote. I don't do it. I don't believe in it. I think it's dumb. And that's just because I'm biased against certain things because of ways that we've been treated. So if we cross promote and all of a sudden you get 50 new backers, 60 new backers, and I get shit from it, and my shows range between 20 viewers all night to 45 viewers all night, but your show only has like one viewer ever, and all of a sudden you have a whole bunch of new backers and I didn't get any. You know what I mean? It doesn't sit right. So we have a mentality where we're happy for people, but we're not going to get sucked into any kind of shenanigans with other people. It's a scary thing. Like I said, we have like 4 companies that I consider peers, only like 4, so it's one of those things where it's not cocky, it's numbers, it's real talk. You know what I mean? If you want to work with me, come to me and tell me you made 250,000 last year in sales, and we'll talk, because we don't make shy of that very much. You know what I mean?
My retail pitch right there.
That's it. Pitch it. If you don't make 250K a year, I can't work with you. And it's not about the money. It's about how well you're known, how well you're seen, what effect, like how your fans feel. If you have fans, how your artists feel about you. You know what I mean? Vic Moya had me in tears the other night, just about.
I'm gonna step away for about 10 minutes. Just
yeah, you're good.
Okay.
I literally was almost in tears by Vic Moya the other night live. It's just conversations when I see our artists that have never met each other, had never worked together before coming to Ethereal, when they come to each other and they're like, man, your artwork's great, or man, you're doing really well. I'm just like, man, that's brotherly love, man.
I love the ego, right? I love the ego that you have. And this is going to sound weird, but I'll tell you why I love it. Because I'm getting to the stage where I pick and choose who comes on my show.
Absolutely.
I tried doing it the other way. Didn't get anything out of it. Felt honestly, when I used to throw out who wants to sign up, a bunch of people would sign up. And I felt that sometimes the quality was good and sometimes it was bad. I've dealt with bookers who were getting paid and the guests didn't give a fuck. That upset me tremendously. And because I don't want to be, Mark Cuban said it best. If you walk into a room and you don't see a sucker there, you're the sucker. And I mean, there's certain things you could agree with Mark Cuban on. There's certain things you could disagree with him on. But he has some fair points about business, some fair points about things. And that's how I feel. And so I'm at a stage where I pick and choose, and I tend to get guests.
Yeah.
And people, how do you do it? And it's because I'll just give everybody a trade secret. I've been around long enough, and I'm not an asshole.
That's it. And I'll say this about you. I've never once thought you were an asshole. Never once has that even, and it's funny because like
I've been an asshole. I'll be very honest.
Yeah,
about it.
but I've never in a way that I felt was, I don't know. When I've watched the shows, I've never thought you were an asshole in a way that was uncalled for or anything like that. But man, look, when you sit down at the end of the day, and you don't have any kids yet. You know what I'm saying? You're preparing your life. So when you sit down at the end of the day and you go, did I do the best I can? Did I do the very best I can for not myself, but for everybody that relies on me and for everyone that, you know, depends on us. You know, like right now, when you go to any of our artists, they'll tell you they get paid all the time. They're not worried about getting paid. You know what I mean? They always get taken care of. And it's one of those things where they applaud us for paying them. That's ridiculous. You should never have to be grateful that you were paid for what you did, you know? And the industry is one of those places where people don't pay people, and it's a shame and it's horrible. And so I carry a little bit of cockiness because I know what I am. I know who I am, and I know that I'm good to people. If I was a shit individual, I wouldn't have any confidence at all. I'd be nervous all the time. I'd worry, but I'm not, because I give a fuck. Like if you have, let's say like right now we have 73 team members right now, roundabout. Minus one or two maybe that I just haven't spoken to recently. But so when you talk about those people, I can tell you their names. I can tell you their kids' names. I can tell you what they do for a living on the side. I can tell you if this is their full-time job. I can tell you everything about them because I care about them. I care about their lives. I care about their families' lives, you know, and that is different than anything else I've experienced from anything in the comic industry, you know. There are guys that I look up to that people wouldn't piss on to put a fire out. You know what I mean? And it's scary because like those are guys I looked up to, and I'm like, oh my God, you know. So it's something where I am constantly going to put the fans and the team ahead of myself always, because you all take care of my children. Doesn't matter my personal feelings, my personal thoughts. You take care of my children, and that's the world, man. That's the whole world.
So it's interesting that you talk about this. So I have repeat clients on eBay.
Absolutely.
And I don't ask them personal information because you really can't. But we joke. And so there's jokes, there's discussions, even with card stuff. You know, I'm always talking about stuff with them, and like I'll just say, hey, you know, I just got this thing in. I didn't put it up yet. Do you want it? And you know, all of a sudden what starts happening is that they don't bug me when something is late by 2 months and they haven't heard anything because they know it's coming and they know that they're going to get right of first refusal. And a lot of people also, even before they say, hey, like somebody bought something and said, hey, I'm buying some stuff. Could you come out and said, absolutely. Did you get my last message? And the guy's like, oh, shoot, I didn't even see your last message yet.
Right.
And like, again, all of a sudden you're building rapport. And you're taking care of people.
It's so important, man. Rapport is so important. Customer service is so important. Being as cool as April is even more important.
So cool.
But no joke. It's as you grow and as you see, you know, as someone that's been doing what you've been doing for 10 years, you notice things. So like we notice things and we change our course. You know what I'm saying? So we're not going to run in straight into the burning fucking car that's in the middle of the road. We're going to go over to the right a little bit because we know that our fans, we share the same fans as a couple other publishers, you know? So we go, oh man, we're move over just a little bit. You know what I mean? So we don't do something they've done or are doing that upsets folks. You have to pay attention, even though comics is, in my opinion, it's a very like publisher to publisher game. It's different for everybody, but at the same time, you want to have an idea of what other people are doing. You know, I'm going to say this. I know there are a ton of publishers that watch what we're doing. I know they do. And I'm okay with that. Love it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, dude, don't think I don't peep too. I'm over there checking out what you got going on too, just because of the fact if you're doing it well, take it as a compliment that I'm paying attention to what you're doing. That's how I view it. Absolutely.
I mean, you know what happened to me in February and March as far as my business and what I shifted, right? I mean, for those who don't, to be a whole big Zenescope guy.
Yeah.
Zenescope was 80% of my eBay store.
Right.
And I was getting my ass kicked by people who I think are buying wholesale. Nothing with that. And Zenescope books are not trading for what they used to trade for.
Right.
And so what did I do? I started going to places like Merc, Comics Elite. I started going to Big Dog Inc. I'm looking for other retailers, and I'm looking for the next big thing. And I want to test markets. Mount Olympus is a big one for me. And all of a sudden, my business went from doing, 28,000, probably going to end around 60, maybe 70,000 this year. That's a big jump.
Well, it's paying attention, man. It's paying attention. You know, who sells? Who sells? Go to who sells. You know what I mean? And that's, but, and a fun thing about companies like Merck and companies like ours, and Mount Olympus is we're low print run. You know what I mean? So when you go as a retailer, when you go, man, did you see that new whatever cover? I got it. I got like 5 of them. And when you say that, and we've sold out like 20 of them in an hour, and you're like, I got 5 of the 20. Now all of a sudden you can write your own ticket. You know what I mean? Now you're like, man, look, I even can ask Dustin to make them metal. My 5 will be metal. You know what I mean? What do you guys, you want to do metals? I can do metals. And that's the kind of thing that is really good for people that are in the know and are paying attention. Because a lot of people, again, when you're small press, a lot of people don't know that you exist yet. So you pop on the scene and you're like, man, I got this dope Sugar Spit cover and no one else has got it. And I can make it a foil. You like foil. I can make mine foil. And all I got to do is slip Dustin like 10 more bucks under the table and mine will be foil. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where we constantly, again, we want you to succeed. Because if you're succeeding, we're succeeding. And then you go, hey, man, when they open that book, there's that big ass ethereal logo right there on that interior front cover, that lets you know, hey, that's who published this book. Because you're selling virgins. Love it. You know what I mean? That's what you're doing. So now they're looking at that big ass logo when they open it and they're like, oh man, I really enjoyed Spawn. And this is colored by Dan Kemp. Man, or I really like Cave Woman, you know what I mean? And that's Mitch Massey all over that book. Yes, sir. And yes, sir, again. So it's like, then you go, now you're not only grabbing people that liked the artwork, now you're grabbing folks that hunt these individuals, and I'll tell you what, we have the greatest rapport with our team. Like I was talking to Dan Kemp earlier today. And he was like, so you need 44 pages done in, 50 days. I was like, yes, sir. And he's like, I'm on it. And I'm like, I love it, and, then you go to Mitch Massey and you go, man, I need, X amount of pages. And all of a sudden there's going to be those X amount of pages. We're going to have them in no time. That's because we take care of each other. When Ethereal eats, we all eat, we only do full ass and we all eat together. So, it's something that we're all grateful for. And we have a great project manager in April. We have a great art director in Blade and Hunter. No one goes without knowledge. No one goes without help. And I don't see that in very many other places. So that's another reason that I'm very confident. I'm confident because of our team, and I'm confident because our fans are the best fucking fans you're gonna find. I promise. I got fans, dude. Look, we went to a show, and I somehow got the wrong information to go to a restaurant, right? And I was the only one not at the restaurant, and which whatever, not even mad anymore. But so I ended up at this nice restaurant. And my mom had drove with me because she didn't want me to drive that far by myself because my wife couldn't go. And my mom has never traveled with me before. And she was like, I'd really like to go. I've never seen the city, yada, yada. So she drives with me. And so her and I are the only ones at this restaurant, this really nice restaurant. And we're sitting there eating. And we had a Fran call. And our friend, Fran is friends and fans for us. That's what we call them, the friends and fans. They're our friends. And I don't give a shit how tacky it sounds. They're great fucking people. So anyway, because I hate the word fan. It sounds so goddamn conceited. I hate it. So anyway, so friends. I don't believe we have fans. We make fucking friends. That's what we do. So we're at this restaurant, and I'm bummed out, right? Like, I'm having fun chilling with my mom and whatnot because I hadn't seen her in a really long time at that point. We had just moved up near them. And other than that, I hadn't spent a lot of time with her in years. So we're hanging out, and our buddy calls, and he's like, "Man, I saw you guys at the show. I would love to come and have dinner with y'all if you're out doing anything." And he brings his whole tribe to this restaurant to sit with us. And we're sitting there shooting the shit, having drinks, and people are walking up asking for book signings and fucking getting shots and shit while we're sitting in this restaurant. And I don't mind. I enjoy it. It's fun. So we're talking, we're drinking tequila and all kinds of other shit. And next thing you know, we're walking from the restaurant to the Cheesecake Factory at like 12:30 at fucking night, right? And we're at the Cheesecake Factory, same thing. Comic fans at the show are bullshitting and coming to sit at the table, and more alcohol at the goddamn Cheesecake Factory and shit. And it was just, it's one of those things where you create your tribe. And if you're good to people, it'll grow. And I think that's one thing that social media has done well for us. I think Kickstarter has done a great job. And we have cultivated this amazing group of people. And do I mind paying the extra shipping if something goes wrong? No. Do I mind paying to send them a book or two if it gets fucked up? No, I don't mind. I don't mind taking my time to answer your messages. I don't mind taking my time to answer your calls because it's important. Like I said, if I'm late 30 minutes on an email, my wife will have my behind. So no, I'm never late. I'm always on it, and I like that Kickstarter has this thing now where they can ask for an update. I love that because I update all the time anyway. But if you have a question, some folks don't like social media, so they don't follow you on social media. You know what I mean? They follow the Kickstarter. So if they have a question and they can hit that button and ask for an update, I love that because I can hop on Kickstarter, answer your question with a quickness, then everybody sees the answer. It's so great. Kickstarter has gotten so much better over the past couple years than it was before. Like it was real tough before, and now it's just getting so much better. Ugh, ridiculous.
I agree. Which I think Kickstarter has gotten better. I think there's still some issues on Kickstarter, and I think there's also just bad actors. And I've been burned heavily by somebody, and they moved the goalpost is a nice way to put it.
Oh yeah. No, I feel that. I had so we had the same dude on a couple campaigns, right? Same dude. He came in and he backed for $1,000 on a couple different campaigns. And then when every single campaign that he backed, when it would come to payout, it would not go through. And that shit is killer on people because they depend on the money. So if you go, I'm backing for $1,000 and then you back out, it sucks. I understand life happens, but this individual had done it like 4 times. And I was like, I hate your face so much. I've never even seen it.
So,
but if I saw it, I'd really fucking hate it.
What happened to me, and this is where I think Kickstarter should step in, is that somebody, I guess, was doing a graphic novel and they funded, and then 18 months later, they said their artist ran away with the money. And now they're moving the graphic novel into 3 floppies, and they're kickstarting floppy 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, no, that's shenanigans. That's
not an issue anymore.
I had one that was 18 months. And now if he had talked to people throughout the 18 months, I wouldn't even been mad. I promise. I'd have been like, damn, that sucks. I wouldn't have even been mad. But it was this whole like not talk to people and ignore messages and everything else. When you saw them, motherfucker, I know you saw them. You know what I mean? Like, I know you got my messages. Don't ignore me, dick. But no, it was, and it was a shame because I remember Ali Garza was the one that was like reached out and was like, dude, I got a cover on this book. Snag it. It's going to be great. I was like, okay, so snagged the book, got excited. But again, I'm one of those people that understands that shit happens. Like I really do. So just talk to me, bro. Be real with me.
So on this book, though, my problem is that you promised me a graphic novel. You
Right,
didn't promise me a floppy, and you
right,
should offer me the ability to
right.
get out or
Or give me
something.
my trade paperback, dude. Just give me my trade paperback like I asked for. My graphic novel is what I wanted. Let me get that.
And so my whole thing, and then
Ah.
also it's the things that he has to run a Kickstarter for issue 1, and what happens if you don't make your money on that?
Yeah,
Because
see, I'm not all about that. That's a little. We're always a book ahead. Always a book ahead.
I'm not even worrying about him making a profit. I'm worrying about him having enough funds to print
No,
it.
that's what I'm saying. That's pretty shameful. I'm not a fan of all that. If you can't come in and do your stuff, that's like I said earlier. There are people that come in and then they go, and you'll see them on Facebook, right? And they're like, "Oh, I'm doing so great, and Kickstarter did awesome, and I'm out here spending $1 billion on cars and shit," but then you can't fulfill your campaigns. I have a problem with that. That's something to me that is complete ignorance, and you shouldn't be doing. Like if I had a $20,000 campaign and I ate ramen for a week, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like I'm over here going, my fans mean everything. They need to get their shit, and you're over here like, did you see my new Maserati? Fuck off. And I'm like, what just happened? How did I have a better shit than you did? And I'm over here eating canned noodles, and you're out here with this fucking sports car. I hate you. Like it's just it's a shameful thing, and it makes people shy of Kickstarter. It makes people nervous, like us. Again, we had some issues and we were behind, but we always spoke to people and we got people product left and right. Like product is always moving out of my house, like always moving. And it's one of those things where I think that you should talk to people, man. Like real talk. If you have a problem or something happens, own it. Be a man about it or a woman about it. Do your shit. Hey, look, this happened. But at the same time, when you come at like again the shit in China, the shit with paper, I understood all that. I wasn't mad about none of that. You know what I mean? I'm still not mad about any of that. Life happens. I can't control overseas stuff. I can't, like right now, we just had a buddy of ours, Peter Lane, reached out and was like, "Hey man, we got our Fallen Leaf stuff. Love it. Love that we got our stuff." And I'm like, dope, really excited. But you know what? For every 5 packages I send to Australia, 2 of them go fucking missing for every fucking 5 that I send, and that's one of those things. And I feel bad for them because they're like, "Hey man, it's been months." Yep. It takes about 3 weeks to get to Australia right now. The shit thing is it's $50 minimum shipping a comic book to Australia right now. So when you ship it
at 40, yeah,
it's 50 fucking bucks. It's bananas.
Ugh.
So anyway, so when you ship to them, and get this, kids, USPS or UPS, they don't have insurance on that shit. So when you send stuff over there and they go to get it for that 50 something dollars, and if it disappears, now you're going to mail it back out at your cost of 50 something bucks because it's not the individual's fault. They didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're going to ship it out. Now it's going to take 4 fucking more weeks. Or if it was an LE or something that you have to reprint, to get for them, now it's how many more? You're adding 3 more weeks because now you got to go through the printer, talk to the printer, deal with that, get the book in. And you're damn sure not going to pay the printer to print 1 book. So now you're going to go through whatever you need to get X amount of books, from the printer to make it worth your time. So now you're out at minimum $100, for the missing book that wasn't your fault or the other person's. So I just think that people need to be conscious about folks, and that, what, a backer, a Fran, or whatever is a person. They're people on the other end of this, and I think that's a problem. I think that people don't realize they're people. You don't realize that they have a personality, they have thoughts, they have feelings. Man, the amount of people that I get that reach out and they're like, "Hey man, I got a great idea." I love that shit. I love it. I don't use but 2% of them, and I give people credit for the 2%, but it's awesome. They have thoughts, they have feelings, they're living beings. If they spent $50 to buy your goddamn product, the least that you can do is talk to them. They've earned that right, you know? And we believe in that more than anything. We believe in the backer. We believe in the time it takes for them to purchase a book. We believe in the time that it takes our asses to reach out and say, hello, how are you? We hope you've had a great day. Here's an update on our book, at least once a month. And if you have a question, holler at me day or night. I'm going to fucking answer it. I promise. You know, and that's what makes the difference between the men and the boys. That's it. That is the biggest thing in this, in any business. Have some fucking couth and stand up on your own 2 feet and realize that these people make or break you. How you treat them is colloquial to your fucking life. You know, that's it.
I know, and I'll say this very openly, and then people might not like what I say, is that my people who buy from me and my repeat customers, they are going to fund my retirement and they are going to give me a good life and my good life, and they're going to change my economic income because I have a day job, and hopefully, you know, I'm going to keep my day job because I like my health insurance and I have no problem in that.
Right. Man, if we could only get that in comic books.
But I understand that my eBay business puts me to a different income bracket. And
Absolutely.
so I'm well aware that my lifestyle is much better and it changes because of that.
Yep.
And so I try to treat people within reason, unless somebody's screaming at me or doing something crazy.
Right.
People with respect because they're funding my lifestyle and they're giving me a better lifestyle.
Yeah, that's
books. And so there you go. So I'm well aware of that.
I love that. I love the mentality of, you know what? I think that is something that's very gratifying and people don't realize because they're afraid to do it or they've never done it. But serving people is gratifying. It really is. To make people smile and to make people happy, that shit can change your life. Like it really can. Like if I'm having a bad day and one of the team gets a hold of me and they just make me laugh or something, it changes my whole goddamn day. Like it really does. And comics are the same, I think. You know, I really do. I believe it full-heartedly.
Yeah, I agree. But we've been speaking for a while.
Hey, man, we appreciate you.
And I figured I would give both of you a chance to self-promote because I need 30 seconds. So
right on. Go, April, go.
Oh,
go Rainbow Dash.
My mermaid book. Bum.
Pick up Mermaid.
No, thank you guys so much for supporting Ethereal. We really, really, really do appreciate it. And all of our individual artists, if you like what you see, definitely give those artists a shout out. They work real hard to get noticed. So, and we appreciate them and your time.
Ugh, love it. Goosebumps.
Well,
yes, I can't even top that shit. Like I might have just got a little excited just then. That was so awesome.
And you're speaking with HR.
Oh yeah. Get my ass in trouble. No, yeah, like April said, her book drops on Friday.
Sorry. I just won my dad's Christmas gift.
That I love it. That's awesome. So Friday.
That's why I needed 30 seconds, everybody. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You're so good. So Friday we'll go live with April's amazing mermaid book. We'll do a live show on it on the stream, and we'll talk all about it. And then we got the Halloween books coming up, so we're really, really hyped. And thank you for hanging out with us on Andrew's show. We really appreciate that. We love coming on Andrew's show because he's a good dude, and he doesn't fluff. He talks the real shit and is real honest. So we're definitely a fan of that because we don't know how to do otherwise. So, you know, birds with a feather and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been saying it for 4 years now. I'm going to keep saying it. You have to support indie. You have to support comics. And the way you do that is you back Kickstarters. And then if somebody is not running a Kickstarter, but they're in a store or they have a web store or they're somewhere else where they sell their books, you know, eBay, whatnot, you know, direct to person.
Andrew. Buy them from Andrew.
Yeah.
I don't have any of your books yet. We're going to work on that.
We're going to make that happen.
But enough about that. But continuing the theme here is just buying people's books, both Kickstarter, regular, or wherever else you can find them, is always important. And that's a big thing to do. And let's say you already have everybody's books. The other thing that you should do, if you're not already doing it, is following them on social media, such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever else social media goes. YouTube's a big one. That's a big one right now. To follow TikTok is another one, because that also goes a long way.
Oh, sure
in a
does.
lot of ways. And it makes a huge difference for people when, obviously you're following them on social media, and you won't miss out. That's the other thing too. That's so important. And so that's all I have to say about that. And then as far as I'm concerned, I'll pop out and make comments on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. So go bother me, hit me up, follow me there. I release a lot of content every single week. I think I'm releasing like 25 videos on YouTube now every single week.
Jesus.
Nice.
Get it.
Yeah. And
Not ready for Mortal Kombat? You're going to start releasing Mortal Kombat videos next month?
Ooh. Finish him.
I cannot promise everybody that you will get smarter by watching me, but I can promise that you will be entertained, because there is something for you on my YouTube channel, my 1,100 videos, and I'll be damned if there is not. And that is all I can say. So that's everything I got. And I don't know who wants the final word. I don't know.
Oh, I thought you said you were going to launch the final word. I was like, what is the final word?
No.
Word.
Oh, man. Thanks again for, supporting Ethereal. We appreciate you, every one of you. And you can follow us on Instagram at Ethereal Publications or Ethereal Comics. You can also follow us on Facebook. You can find April or myself under our names, or you can find us both under Ethereal. We've got a great group on there, and both my page and the group are public. So don't feel like you have to add us if you just want to follow us. You certainly don't have to add me as a friend or anything like that. But you get to see all the cool content. And if you're a Kickstarter subscriber, we constantly talk about books on there. So, come hang out and do the thing. And we also do a live show every Tuesday night at 8:00 CST. And then every time we launch a book, we do a show on Friday nights. So come back, hang out with us, and make sure you follow Andrew, because he's a good dude. So we really appreciate him. And thank you so very much.
Oh, I couldn't have said that any better myself, everybody. And that is a wrap.